Yeah. One of the greatest things about you, Marquette, everybody that we met on the Zoom was that you're just real normal every Janine, how are you?
Hi, Bruce. It was the best time ever.
Yeah, we had so much fun. We see, that's what I realized, being on that tour, and I probably had a similar experiences. The people that we see on the screen, via Zoom or online or whatever, it's a lot different when you meet them in person. And you realize you get to touch them, hug them, get to see who they really are. And
Yeah.
one of the greatest things about you, Marquette, and most everybody that we met on the tour too, was that you're just real normal, everyday people. Not anything, crazy. We don't, we're not celebrities in our own mind. We're just,
Yep.
going through this thing. Everybody has their own little niche, their own little passion, their purpose, their path that we're, utilizing to fight this war for humanity. That's what we're essentially fighting. So, how are things up
Yep.
there in the frozen tundra of Canada?
Actually, we're in Chinook weather here in Calgary. Chinook with a CH. It means like warm winds coming in. And yeah, we get a Chinook arch, and then for a couple of days we're real warm for this time of year for us. But real warm is nothing like you, Bruce, where you are is probably because it's 7 below and up to a couple degrees above Celsius is what we're calling Chinook. So lots
Wow.
of snow.
And yeah, the Celsius Fahrenheit difference is what is like 30 some degrees or something like that. Is
Yeah.
that the Wow, that's way too cold for this Florida boy. And Natalie's piping in from the background too. Yeah, she's listening in. Yeah, so I'm super excited to have you here. How did you have a great Christmas, New Year's? How was your holiday season?
Well, Christmas was pretty quiet. My son came to visit from Vancouver, but I did have a really fun New Year's. I went to Ottawa, and for the first time I met Julie and Jean-Claude, who are my Beyond Mystic crew. We're all together on Beyond Mystic, which is Jean-Claude's channel. And it's like we've been working together for a year and a half, maybe 2 years with Jean-Claude and I. And we've never met in person, so it was a lot of fun to meet in person.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? I mean, when you just like meeting on the Truth Tour,
Yeah.
meeting the people that you work with, that you see, that you watch,
Yeah.
reading in person, it raises that vibration, that
Yeah.
resonance you have, even to a higher level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm curious, many people wondering, if you don't know who Janine is, if you're living in a cave somewhere, or, you live in a van down by the river, she's been at the forefront of trying to discern and show, what the universe is showing us, through the cards, for a while. I'm curious, how is it that you kind of got started? Have you always been, drawn into that, type of atmosphere? Or was this something that you picked up along the way? Was there an event in your life? How did you get started with the whole, card reading stuff?
Well, the card reading happened many, many years ago. I'm in my 60s now, but I was 27 officially when I went for my first reading. And an older gal, quite an elderly woman, actually read me. Long story short, she basically read what's happening today for me. So she got that I would get obsessed with tarot shortly after I'd had that reading. And then I would study astrology, and become a, long story, world famous reader, she said, which, well, wow. Well, that didn't happen for quite a while, but I did get obsessed with tarot, and I started studying it. I had a initial teacher, Connie Leonard. She was from Calgary, but now she lives in British Columbia. She's very elderly now. She taught me originally, and then I went on to study on my own for many years. And study on your own tarot is reading anyone who will let you. So I was literally trying to ask, like I was asking people to let me. Then you start trading energy, because you're giving a lot of energy, so you have to get to be healthy, you have to receive back energy. So I'd do it for either small amounts of money at that time, because new readers, they don't always charge anywhere near what the veterans do, right? And then I would ask for lunch, or because I'm a Taurus, so I like food. Or cappuccinos. I loved cappuccinos. So I would trade for like a latte, a cappuccino, or something for a reading. Okay, back in the day, I was in my 20s. And a lot of people, they would look at me and think I was too young to be a reader. But I was already very intuitive all through my life, actually. So I was, but it took years to really perfect the art. It takes years to become a really deep and good reader. You add layers and layers with experience. So I read a huge clientele for about 35 years. And then I got onto YouTube. A friend, also a veteran reader, Guy, that was his name. He suggested, let's do a YouTube channel. So he did it with me. And then I ended up on the Truther. As soon as the lockdowns happened, we knew something was really fishy. And we started looking into stuff. So then I became a Truther, sort of overnight, actually.
Right. So that transition from being, just giving people personal readings to being in the truther and kind of, doing your readings, concerning, what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
How did that transition, go? Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it just a natural flow thing?
Well, the first couple of years of doing the channel, so I had Tarot by Janine and Sending Ravens, both channels. I was looking at the royals. I started out doing politics very badly, I might add, and a lot of people would agree with me. I was actually not a Trump fan at first. Because I was indoctrined by CNN, like a lot of Canadians are. And I had no idea the real truth about him, but my cards actually kept disagreeing with me. And basically, Trump would always come out the good guy, no matter what the question was. So I stopped doing that for a while till I, figured that out. Like I went looking and searching, and sure enough, discovered all kinds of people who knew a lot better than I did about U.S. politics, and started watching different programs. Michael Jaco was one I used to like to watch. I loved Patriot Street Fighter, Scott McKay, So I was watching some intelligent people who actually knew what was going on, and I started educating myself. But tarot, you don't always do investigation, you just ask questions. But the cards kept telling me the opposite of what my intellect thought, which of course happens a lot with tarot card reading. So I stepped away from politics and I started reading on the royals. And then at the same time, I was daily booking readings. So it was a lot of work. It was like having two jobs, because YouTube, of course, you need to do a lot of readings just to get monetized. And I did want to go towards doing it as a living, because I'd already read for personal people for 35 years. So I was thinking, okay, this is going to be my new livelihood, but I'll have to build it up. So I was like working two jobs for quite a while. Then the truther situation happened. Like things became obvious. We were in a war. We were in a spiritual war. And I knew, okay, I got to get on this. This was my life mission. So I dropped all my clients and just trusted that YouTube would pick up enough that I could make a living without doing that other work I was doing, because I knew I was needed and I trusted the universe. And sure enough, our YouTube grew enough that we could pay ourselves. and actually not, I didn't have any income other than YouTube for a really long time, and until YouTube kicked me off of there. But anyway, and then I got a website and things went from there. But I knew that I had to do it because the world needed people like us, and it felt like my life mission. I felt like it was a karmic thing.
Sure. And so I did put your websites on the screen there. If you can, go to Janine's website, tarotbyjanine.com.
Yep.
Tons of information. You can find everything that she's doing on that website. And just like you, I have that abusive relationship with YouTube. They think I'm a threat to humanity.
Yeah.
And so I've just fired up, and we're actually live on my 4th YouTube channel.
Wow.
I don't care. I tried to, hold my tongue a little bit, try to stay away from some of those things, but sometimes the universe just wants the words to get out, and then so I just deal with it, and I'll start another channel. It doesn't matter. I'm in the fight to fire out truth, and so I want to use these, what these platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and places like that, because people say, hey, why do you continue to do that? Well, it's a platform they meant for evil that I'm turning around and using it for good, firing out truth. So it's a war, it's a firing position for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we continue to be the fight. We're live right now on Facebook. Because I just got out of jail last night on Facebook, so we're able to do lives again. So Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and Twitter, I'm pushing it all out there. So we're just blasting out the truth. And you got? Are you still planning to go across the pond there to see Mark in April? Is that in the cards?
You bet. Yeah, we have 3 engagements in Manchester, and they're 3 different evenings with the same show. So it's not like you buy a ticket and you get the 3 shows. You just can choose one of those evenings, and it's on Mark Atwood's website, I believe. And I've shared it, and I will share it again today. How you can get early bird tickets. Also, we are doing 1 gig in actually Trump's hotel in Ireland. So apparently Trump has a hotel in Ireland that he owns, and we've booked a room there for a gala dinner, which there's also tickets for. So that's all Mark Atwood's sort of doing, and he's planning it all. And I'm just showing up there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And Tom Numbers, too, is going to be there. And somebody else he mentions on, I can't remember her name, a gal also going to be with us. And he said some surprise guests, too.
Mark's always has some great surprises. And so, if there are people watching, I know from the UK in the chat, I've seen them pop in. So you can go to, I think his website is themarkatwoodshow.com, themarkatwoodshow.com to get information about the Manchester event, and then the event in Ireland. Natalie and I were considering going, but because emotionally, in the 3D, I want to go and hang out and be with you guys again. But just the way things are working out with what we're doing, I don't know that we're going to make it this time around. Yeah. But definitely for sure, I want to get over there and hang out with Mark. So that's pretty exciting. So lots of interesting news going on.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah, lots of craziness. I mean, it's almost coming comical for me. Knowing that most of it is fake, phony, and false. Mm-hmm. But just seeing it, how they're trying to spin and the narratives that they're trying to push, how they want to guide everything. They know that they're defeated, they're done, that their goose is cooked. But the big thing that a lot of people here in the States had their high hopes on was this Brunson case, that the Supreme Court was wanting to look at, or they were considering looking at. Well, we found out yesterday that they decided, no, we're not going to look at that case. So I'm curious, if we want to, ask like the first question, will the Supreme Court change their mind? Will any appeals be effective? Do you think that or that the cards think that will, move forward and we'll get some type of resolution on the 2020 situation through the Supreme Court?
Okay, just to catch you up, I've been looking at that a few times on the Beyond Mystic channel. We looked at it on, I think it was last night. And then on my own website, I did a big look at it. This was before we found out they were going to sort of shelf it for now, at least the Supreme Court. And what I was getting, and I'll just quickly recap, and then we'll look at it with the cards going forward. But what I was getting was, and I've got this all along, something different's going to happen. It's already been decided on the back channel about the 2020 election. It's already been overturned. That's always what I get. And the Supreme Court is being highlighted right now because they are and have had players in there that are deep state. So I believe that people that are putting all their store on that may be, try not to be disappointed around it, because it's all theater right now. So things have already been decided on the back channel, possibly even with what they brought. And if you think about it, if the 2020 is overturned already in the background, and Mr. T is already the president, has been ever since, and the Biden bunch is a puppeted bunch that are capitulated and haven't even set foot in the White House. Possibly the Supreme Court is also a bit of a puppet and or not valid somehow, because the corporation of the United States is actually defunct from everything I'm reading. So those are just what I get. So you got to remember, this could all be theater. Even if the Brunson brothers don't see it that way, and I don't know if they're in on it or not, I believe it's kind of theater and less as important as you think. Stuff's already happening that may not need this, or they're going to play it out. And what I got in my channel was this was going to stretch out. It wasn't 100% denied. And there could be way more going on with it, but there's also other things that are going to come along and change things for the United States for the better as well. So if you just put all your eggs in that basket, try not to be disappointed, because I don't think it's as important as it appears. It's more of us posturing, and they're using it for stalling, and they're also using it for theater, entertainment, and also to show you something about the Supreme Court. So they're outing a lot of people with what's going on, even in the getting this fellow in the House as the speaker. There's a lot of outing there, and Q drops tell you about that was going to happen on the very day that it happened. It happened after midnight, I believe, on the 15th round that this guy got in for Speaker of the House, who's a rhino. And I got that he's not even around anymore. That guy's been rounded up. So whoever that is puppeting him or playing his part could be wearing a mask, and also could be basically puppeted by the White Hats and Mr. T. So they, you got to think about all of those things when you look at this. Try not to be literal about each one of these steps, because there's so much going on that you're not seeing. And I don't know, that's how complex we're living. That's the crazy world we're living right now.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, most of the things that we're seeing is for optics and for some other reason. And that's been the challenge for a lot of us in the movement, is trying to stay even keeled and understanding, but we still are beings, and we're emotional beings, and this roller coaster ride of up and down, we think something's going to happen and then it doesn't, blah blah blah. So people get there's just, they put too much focus, I think, on one particular event rather than focusing on themselves and what they can do to be the agent of change. That's one of the things I've been harping on almost from the very beginning, that they're going to do what they're going to do. We monitor and watch it, and when it's supposed to happen, it will.
So I pulled this for us watching. So this is a bit of a fear base. So that sent a lot of people into fear. Now this is interesting because it's delusion and illusion. Okay, and also dysfunctional. So I believe that's also saying the Supreme Court as a structure, as a lot of structures, especially political structures, have largely been shown to be dysfunctional. Think about the medical system. Think about all political systems and money systems. They're all crashing in front of our eyes. And we're all discovering that how they've been working against us as humanity. So that would make a lot of sense, but it also sent a lot of people into fear. Here's the actual situation. This is an abundant card, and it's about financial abundance and or comfort and abundance. So to me, that says the actual situation is way better than it looks. Don't buy into what's you're literally seeing in the theater. And that's not to say don't keep working on yourself, don't keep making sure every day you're behaving in a sovereign, truly, if you're a patriotic way, if you're calling yourself a sovereign, freedom-loving person, whatever you're doing daily to be in your personal power, that's what you need to keep doing. Okay, just like you were saying, Bruce. Okay, so those two are on either side of the situation. This was in the middle. So I think it was a shock to people that happened. Okay, but it's trying to take something down. Tower wants to take something down that's not functioning. The tower is like built on a flimsy foundation. That's why it would come down in the first place. So it has to come down. Something has to come down. I think they have to show you how all those systems related to the corporation of the United States aren't built on a good foundation. Okay, that foundation's coming down, and that's what they're trying to show. But we're in good shape. We just don't know it yet. Okay, so here's the outcome. She's sovereign and free and a more independent money system and more independent humans, not enslaved. Okay, that's interesting. That's where we're going to. So we have to trust that process. And I'm not saying just sit on your laurels and let the white hats do everything, but I am saying ultimately trust that the universe, or you could say God, or you could say goddess, creator, whatever you call that bigger energy that we're all a part of, knows what it's doing. And it's not time for humans to be enslaved anymore. This is built into even astrology. We're coming out of that. We're going into the age of Aquarius. So many ways you can look at it. If you're into the Bible, even the Bible tells us about it. And I'm not biblical minded myself, but I have a lot of respect for people that are. So as far as I'm concerned, we're moving into a time when everything changes and humanity gets on top of our game, and it's not time to be enslaved anymore. Those guys, goose was cooked a long time ago. People trying to enslave humanity. It's not going to go forward. We know too much. Too much of us woke up, and it's karmic that we stop what's been going on. This war's in our hands. We're winning this. Okay. These two cards were at the bottom surrounding that sovereign card. So these three, they went across the bottom. So this is where we're headed. So we're going to a more independent financial system and governing systems. In all areas, she's more independent and has her own sources of income, food supply. Like we might have a lot of work rebuilding structures, mind you, because old structures are coming down that have been deep state and or ruled by WEF and all kinds of baddies, right? But it feels like in the next year, so that ace indicates in the next year, we're going to rebirth right from the beginning, because pages are the beginning of something. We're going to rebirth all systems. We're going to have to recreate it. And that's where the work really starts for the humanity. We're going to have to think about how we do this going forward so this never happens again. And all hoarded wealth doesn't only stay in the hands of people that are literally demonic, cult-minded, and into all kinds of heinous things, just only caring about hoarding wealth. We're all going to have to share it. We're going to get more of it. It'll be available to regular folks. Like even in biblical teachings, they say the meek shall inherit the earth. That's real. That's coming.
Absolutely. No, I believe that 100%. And that completely resonates with what I'm going on. Scanning through the chat and seeing if anybody's saying anything exciting in here. Everybody's just super excited to hear from you and see you on my channel, since we haven't connected before. So there's people from all over the place watching. So the other thing that's really popped up recently, and I don't know if you've really looked at this before, but I'm guessing you have, is the whole Brazil situation. Mm-hmm. Is the Brazil situation kind of a foreshadowing of what may happen here, or is that I guess the question is Brazil where we are going with that whole process? We're like behind them in the process of taking down the baddies in the government.
Well, There must be a lot of awakened people in Brazil because the people are very strong there. Okay, so they're going to become a world power, by the way. I've always got that astrologically. When I studied astrology 25, 30 years ago, I could see this time coming. I didn't exactly know how it would play out, and I wouldn't have called myself, like I hadn't been as red-pilled as now I am now about political systems, etc. But I was getting an inkling just even from the astrology that Brazil would become a world power and would take a lead somehow. And I feel like they're leading us in a way, and they're going to get their guy back through all of their actions. They're going to actually show us one way to do it. Okay, but when I look at how the US does it, it'll get close to feeling like that. We have to be ready to rise up in a positive, peaceful, and non-violent way, obviously, but to stand up for our rights, absolutely. But it doesn't, this is the 11th hour. I feel like something else happens, that it's not necessary to go to the lengths, but they're showing us just one way that things can get done. And that population, it seems to work for them. So I feel like in the US, it'll feel like it might be going there, and then something else happens that creates the sort of regular folks who aren't watching videos like this to actually understand the bigger picture, maybe even abruptly. So maybe we get an EBS or we get a situation. There's still going to be situations that wake the populace up. We've been seeing it for a long time. We've been told it's coming. I believe it will come eventually. But it feels like it's changed a lot around timing of it and exactly how it'll go down. I feel like it's a work in progress, that one.
Excellent. No, I feel the same way. I'm looking, watching as much as we can, because we know some of our information that we can get, because that's what we're doing is we're, putting out feelers. We're looking at different places and trying to gate information to find out what the truth is, to be able to, discern and, kind of see, where we might be going. So that's pretty exciting there. Mm-hmm. And you'd mentioned about you're not a Bible type person. And I know that you maybe have dealt with this or answered this question in the past, but I'm curious, there's the people who are all dogmatic, who say that, what we're doing or the tarot type stuff is anti-biblical and it's anti-Christian. How do you answer those people?
Okay, so I would say they need to really examine, all systems have been corrupted. And we know that in Catholicism, the Vatican's sort of the ruler of that. But don't forget that even the royal family consults the Vatican. Okay, so that's suspicious. And the royal family in the UK is supposed to be a Protestant and a whole different sort of system. Okay, why are those systems in cahoots? Okay, because the Vatican is actually completely corrupt and demonic, and we found that out. And also, I believe in the back channels, they've been taken down and being dealt with. And there's unbelievable amounts of darkness in that system, and it is a huge cover-up. Mother Teresa was actually not born a female, and just dressed in those robes to cover up a very demonic male who was incredibly high up in the Jesuit, who are known to be huge traffickers and in on it with the Vatican. I mean, all of this stuff we've discovered in the last, some people knew it for years, but I've just discovered in the last 3 years. I always knew that large organized, any kind of system is corrupt now, in particular religions. So you have to be careful, because a lot of religions are cover-ups for moving children around and trafficking type situations, and it's been proven. And a lot of these activities, these dark activities, happen in all denomination church buildings and underground of these things. So none of them, like in the high up ranks, high up, these leaders of these supposed organized religions, all were designed to cover up activities. And of course, always promoting that you don't question and you have a go-between. Why do you need a go-between to touch base with your creator? Okay, you're part of that energy. Okay, Creator created you. You're part of it. You're as worthy as anybody to connect directly. Why do you need a go between? So a priest or a preacher, okay? Because so they're trying to take you away from yourself. That's what I'm thinking. And some of them are good. Some of them don't, like preachers and priests don't get into these horrific activities, but too many of them do. And the higher up you go, the worse it gets. And that's with all systems. They've been corrupted from the inside, and they've been used to repress humans' knowledge. So of course they told you many, many years ago, they started a big, promoting that what I do is evil, because it would actually cut through and directly let you connect to your spirit source. So it was the whole burning of the witches thing in the Inquisition was a way to repress wise women who were actually bringing a lot of wisdom and were the first truthers, maybe. Okay, right? There might have been a few bad ducks in there using negative witchcraft, but mostly the deep state and the dark culture using that kind of witchcraft. If my intention is pure and good to channel spirit voice, then that's what I channel, because that's what I intend to do. So it's all about your intention. They're just a set of tools that help me directly channel for you. Okay, but I'm just reflecting voice of spirit, just like somebody who gets the voice, they call it, what do they call it? The angelical Christians, they call it, they're channeling as well. Right? They get these messages from spirit. I'm just using a tool. I'm channeling. So, we need to realize, where did those titles come from? That it's demonic. Why? Because they don't want you using the tool, because it's too useful. Why do you think I got the boot off YouTube, and you can't even say my name fully in YouTube?
Well, we're live on YouTube, and we love Janine. Tarot by Janine. YouTube.
Yeah.
Screw them. I'm that militant type. I don't really care, but just to kind of back on or tack onto there, from my personal experience, I had spent a lot of time as born again Christian in the church. I came very close to being like a children's type pastor because I have the heart for the children. And anyway, once I got involved in some of the political back tape, there's tons of hypocrisy and backbiting and just not very nice stuff that goes on behind the scenes in a lot of churches, Christian churches that I'm talking about. So I kind of walked away from that, and there was other things as my awakening came about that just I had questions, and there wasn't the proper answers that I was getting from the alleged supposed leaders of that church. So I started digging myself, and I've come back kind of full circle around. I'd walked away, but I've been drawn back from in a spiritual sense. And you're exactly right. It's those people, the leaders of the organized religions, who don't want to have their control mechanisms removed, that come up with the things that, what you're doing is, evil, or they call it, the New Age movement and all these different, derogatory type terms, so that they can keep their control mechanisms in place to have their to invoke their type of thinking on the people that they're supposedly trying to shepherd or pastor or whatever. So that's just my personal backing up of what you're saying. And I have seen, when I have it blows my mind. I had my first personal reading April of last year. I went and saw a friend of mine. Her name is she goes by Celestial Rain. And, she did a reading. I wasn't a crazy, believer. I was like, okay, I'll see what this does. Well, she started reading my mail. It was like she was in my back pocket the whole time, told me stuff that there's no possible way on God's green earth that she could know about me or my life. And I was like, holy cow, I was a believer. And she told me one thing that just stick with me. And she says she saw me, doing speaking engagements. And she said like a TED Talk. And she even mentioned the month of October. Well, this was way before any type of thought of me participating in the Truth Tour even was, considered. And then what ended up happening? I ended up traveling around the country in the month of October and speaking to people, like a TED Talk. I sent her the picture from Anaheim when I'm on the stage in my flag suit, talking to 200-300 people, or however many people were there, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's great." So the stuff is real and right. And like you said, Hall has everything to do with your intention, because they can twist anything to make it, for evil and for their own purposes. And if you have a clear and pure intention, you're going to get information and stuff like that. So that's fantastic. You mentioned the Vatican and the Catholicism thing, and I'm sure we know that they're all taken out, but from a public optics standpoint, the death of the last pope who resigned, and some of the backstory behind that guy was like kept on the Vatican grounds in like house arrest. He was held. He was the way that I have researched, he was looking to try to clean stuff up in the church, from a public standpoint. But this current guy that's playing the Pope, he's the way that I was researched it, how I feel about it, is he wasn't even a real Pope. That they put this guy out, and the way he resigned and all that stuff. Is that going to just completely crumble the whole papal Vatican City situation, or is it going to be kind of rebirthed in a new way as we transition?
It was so dysfunctional that it looks like it has to completely crumble. And in the age of Aquarius, we're going towards more sovereignty, so less like we're being shepherded. Think about shepherded, even the word. Sorry. Think about the word shepherded. Okay, so sheep, so sheeple. So they just want you to not be thinking, and now you're just a sheep. Okay, people watching videos like this are not the sheep. Okay, right. So shepherded. We don't need to be shepherded. Why does somebody you don't even know, and you don't even know what they're up to, shepherding you? Okay, that makes no sense. And if you look at the history of popes, there's some of the skankiest stories around popes' activities. And that's just the ones that get out. That's not even talking about what's going on underground in their dark chapels. They're literally performing witchcraft while their a pope is up front. And even the reception hall for the Pope in the Vatican is shaped like a giant serpent's head. And a certain Pope created that, made the plans for that. Why would that be? And behind him is literally a lizard. Like there's a great big statue of a lizard. And when you see it sideways, it's right in front of you. It's been right in front of you all along. The outfits they wear even are they have the symbology of pedophilia on them. Okay, it's unbelievable what's in front of your eyes. Okay, so it has to come down. We're going towards understanding that we need to spiritually search individually. So the whole idea of the age of Aquarius, we're entering into it, is individuality. We're going to go more individual with our spiritual process. So you have to personally connect. You can't put it outside yourself and let some priest or preacher guide you spiritually. Why do you need that? You can personally learn to love yourself and connect with your own God, goddess, and energy that flows through you, called your soul. That's for you to do. That's work for you. So we got to stop being lazy here. We got to start looking into food, how it's processed, getting smaller processing. That's why those big processing plants are going down. The larger an organization is, the more corruptibility. Okay, so we have to come in smaller communities that are looking after food processing in a more integral way, more mom and pop things, like encouraging people to, if you're really good at growing really good food, now you got your own group of people around you that live in a certain radius that you're supplying for. Like, we're going to have to change everything from the ground up, and that includes how we spiritually connect. Personal work to spiritually understand yourself, and not just shop it out to and go to church once a week and think that's my spiritual connection. Okay, yeah. Because for a lot of people, that's just not cutting it.
No. And I completely resonate with that. Completely getting away from the big, corporatocracy, or the big governments telling us. It all has to come down to us personal, and starting building things over from the ground up, from the grassroots. That's 100% on point. Somebody mentioned that Diamond and Silk. Diamond passed away, yesterday. Somebody was asking in the chat, I see Diamond passed away, or is there something else going on?
Okay. Those two were fun to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were funny. All the little memes that Trumpo there, that Trumpo account would put out about them, laughing at everything. It was so good.
They're phenomenal people. And here's the thing too, we're all of us in the Patriot, there's so many people, not myself, but I've seen so many comments, that everybody who dies is because they got the vaccine or they played the hokey pokey. That's just not the case. Normal people just pass away for some crazy reason. So what do the cards say?
Well, it doesn't really look like a passing over that I can see here. Maybe moved somewhere for safety. This guy's safe and being safe. They're being safe. She might have been moved somewhere for her own safety. So maybe they presented it as a passing. Maybe they're trying to keep her out of harm's way is what I'm getting. So the Wheel of Fortune, she might actually show back up again here. The Wheel of Fortune switches it all back around again, and that's in the near future. And she might even show up in a political way. So this is, believe it or not, when it's not talking about relationships, the Lover's card is around the idea of the 6 numerologically, which can be about political alliances and people agreeing with things and or groups coming together politically. So she may actually show up in the political realm again in the future.
So that's very interesting. Somebody else in the chat had asked about, because being that you're there in Canada, she said, we know, when will the Canada's government be gone? I know, Justin Castro is gone, but when will we be on a better track is what Pauline is asking.
It's a good question.
Did they recently re-implement or extend their restrictions on travel for Canadian citizens coming in and out of the country concerning the hokey pokey?
Well, the U.S. made it so people coming in, they have to have, but Canada took theirs off actually. So that was one good thing. I can travel a lot more than I used to be able to, but I can't come into the States supposedly.
Allegedly, wink, wink, nod, nod.
Allegedly, yeah. Okay, so this is interesting. We've got the sun, and so it's saying that about the same time the official gold-backed standard is officially rolled out in the public, because I think it's been working on the back channels alongside the other one, and it's all ready to come up and replace. So when that happens, so it's not about a certain time, it's more about stuff has to happen first, and then they can. So it's long, slow. The death card is about an inevitable thing. It will inevitably come out that's been a puppeted bunch, and that guy's, well, there's several Trudeaus. Like if you look at the pictures of them, almost 3 or 4 different guys playing Trudeau, and they're all very different looking. Actually, they have very different, like, people that don't notice are fascinating to me. They're just not paying attention. Those are sleeping people, okay, because it's so obvious. Just like Biden, I mean, every time I see him, he looks like his body's really youthful, his hands are really youthful, then he's got this old man face, and it makes no sense to the guy that he used to be and what he used to look like. I mean, if you don't notice that, there's something kind of wrong with you. You're not that, I gotta say it, you're not that bright. Okay, you are not that bright. People that I used to respect and think were bright, I'm starting to realize are absolutely foolish. Okay, so it's like I've lost a lot of respect for a lot of people. But anyway, so see that death card? So that's dying a long, slow death. That's what's happening right now. In other words, it's inevitable. It will come out, and this guy will be reseated. That's my Mr. T card. So that's Trump. So he'll be reseated, and it'll become known that he's been there all along in the background, and he's actually been pulling all the strings. And I feel like when that all comes out, now you see the fall of Canadian government.
Beautiful. Yeah, because it was very, very obvious when you mentioned the different people. Early on in the thing, it was probably right about the ending of or right near the end of the trucker convoy, or the trucker stuff up there. Yeah. When he got the vid, and he
Yeah.
went off to some other place.
Yeah.
There was the guy that came out and did the news conference. It was almost like days apart. There was a very thin, looking face, and the guy that came out and did that news conference in front of that little house that he was hiding out in.
Yep.
Because he was wanting to have people be safe. It had very pudgy cheeks, and it wasn't. You could tell anybody with half a brain and one eye could see that was a totally different person. And so, I'm with you on, that there's multiple people playing multiple roles, and if people really can't see it, they're just not looking. Most people, I think, have their head in the sand because they're fearful, or they're having some mental block. It's that cognitive dissonance, that they can't come to the realization in their consciousness that most of the stuff that they have learned, lived, and think they know has been lies and bullshit.
Yep. You bet. I've always been sort of versatile that way, even though I'm a Taurus and the year of the ox, we're known to be really set in our ways. But thank goodness I got other things in my chart that's always kept me thinking what's really going on. When I hear stuff, look at stuff in the news, I've never been programmed to any kind of degree other than that CNN programming, which was interesting, that I was totally fooled by CNN to believe the lies they said about Trump. And now I've been apologizing for that ever since. So I totally see it with my own eyes that I was programmed there. But thank goodness all through school, I really didn't pay any attention. I was in remedial classes, and now I see the beauty of that. I was literally, my higher self was like, nope, we're not going to be programmed by this. And I always thought it was just because I'm not that bright. But I've discovered that actually I'm really bright, but it's in an intuitive way and maybe not in an intellectual way, which can be overrated, frankly, because look at all these really bright, supposed intellectually smart, educated people who actually believe all the BS pandemic stuff. Come on.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of people just like that, that they had struggled in their schooling, that they were, thought that they, had some type of learning disability, whatever. But they were just, really, connected, intuitive, higher level type people than the 3D stuff, that they're pushing in the school. So there's a lot of people that are feeling that. I've talked to several of them myself. Yeah. Awesome. Well, is there any, what do you, I guess, some closing words, as we're coming up on close to an hour, some things that we can do, that some action item that you might, consider that people do, or, if you wanted to promote something else you're doing. I know you're going to England in April. Anything else coming up there on your calendar as far as in-person type events? Or are you just doing your online stuff currently?
I'm not really committed to any more in-person things. When we went to Ottawa, we met some group of Canadians from around the area. That was really exciting when I met with Jean-Claude and Julie and Sophie. So they're all people I work with on the Beyond Mystic. We really had a lot of fun because we put it out there about 3 hours ahead of time and people came and met us. So we're hoping to do more things like that going forward in 2023. I really want to see you and Natalie again. So coming your way would be really fun too. But I do have a big move to the Haida Gwaii. I got a property in the Haida Gwaii. I think I'm not for sure settled in, like I don't have that all on paper yet, but I'm hoping to, and then I'll just, let go of my Calgary residence. So there's some moving around to do, right? Shuffling around this year. So because of that, it keeps a lot of things up in the air until I get kind of settled there.
Right. And so that's your kind of long-term plan, is to call the Haida Gwaii, home base.
Yep. That's going to be my home base.
Where you're drawn to it, because you spoke very highly of it. The way you talked about it, when we were together on the tour, I could tell that you had some type of connection or drawing to that particular area.
It was my really deep spiritual awakening. I studied with people call them Indigenous medicine man, so a native Haida Gwaii medicine man. I'm part native myself. And actually, our family recently just got our full native status, which is brilliant. My dad wasn't able to have that in his life, even though he's even more than half Native, because his mother had left the reserve. Or no, sorry, his grandmother. So it goes back to his grandmother who left the reserve to partner off the reserve. And when that happens, the government was using that as an excuse to take their status away. But if men left the reserve, they were allowed to keep it. So that got overturned because people yelled about it loud enough and said that is absolutely sexist and not cool. And they changed that law. So a lot of us, after years of hoops jumping, we had to petition the government to get our status, and our whole family has it available now. So that's pretty exciting. And the Haida Gwaii is a place that is like a spirit home to me. And apparently I was past life there. Now, so my people, my indigenous roots don't come from there. They're Kootenai and Cree, as well as lots of other European roots. Yugoslavian, what used to be known as Yugoslavian, German, and French, Irish, and Scottish, if you can imagine. On my mom's side, she's a French Canadian. So I have lots of roots that I don't call myself just this or that. I'm a lot of things like a lot of humans are here, but I am very, very proud of my indigenous roots. And I see that a lot of Haida Gwaii just helps me connect with that.
Yeah, there's a gal in the chat just says, I have a friend of mine had the same problem. After 69 years, they got their rights back or their status claim. And another positive testimony, Nancy on Facebook, she goes, her comment was, I'll tell you all, I've never been a believer of card readings. I'm humbled again. Thank you. So, I mean, that's all we're doing is showing people other tools.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't the be all end all, but yeah, just open your mind, expand your thinking. That's what we need to do, because if we continue with the blinders on, we will miss and not be able to experience the best that God has for us. And so we need to expand our thinking. That's what they want us to do. They want us to be tunnel visioned, or they have these blinders on and not see other things around that are positive and beneficial. So welcome to the think, Nancy, and keep asking questions. That's how we learn. Open up your mind. Fantastic.
So in closing, I pulled some cards for the audience watching, just as a message from Spirit World.
Beautiful.
Okay. And by the way, when I was studying with that medicine man in the Haida Gwaii, it was many, many years ago. I'd have been in my early 30s then. I made a commitment spiritually one-on-one, because really the medicine training just helped me touch my soul essence individually, which is a very native way to do things, indigenous people's way to do things, is to individually go out and find soul connection individually, mostly in nature. So it was, and the medicine man just guided us and helped us do that, but really we were doing it on our own. And but he was helping structure that for us, so it was a safe way to do it and giving us advice and input. Okay, but he's not my guru, and nobody is my guru, and I'm nobody's guru, by the way. Nobody's smarter than you or less than you, but you're not smarter than them either, or less. Right? You're no less or more than anybody. You just have to be your best version of yourself, and that's what I learned from that training. But so this card is for the audience to understand. We're in a karmic time when the spirit world knew this was coming a long time ago for humanity. This is a timed thing. So it's not just because the white hats in the alliance are fighting on our behalf, although they are, and they karmically signed up for that. But we all karmically signed up to be here at this time. We're here living through this most incredible time in history, because we can do this. Okay. And we're not, this is not beyond us. We're doing this, and we're going to walk through it together. And we're evolved enough to be kind of leaders. And even people watching videos like this here, we're all part of this. We're doing this together, you guys. Okay. So in every little way, even just not consenting to ridiculous mandates, et cetera, and being loud and proud about that. That's even one way you can teach others, okay, by being an example, okay, but you can take that as far as, start a YouTube channel, talk about it, to people. right, when they're ready to hear it. You know what I mean? But there's lots of ways to do it. You could do it through example. Okay, so this card says, yeah, you're karmic and necessary to be here right now, and even to be watching this video right now. So just trust that spirit is not going to forsake us. So I'm not saying they're going to swoop in and save us. We have to do the work. So the work is spiritual. It's more spiritual than literal. Okay, the more we decide we will never be enslaved again, and agree to that, and make verbal agreements with ourselves to invite abundance and be open to channeling the best of universal energy through us. Okay, we're exactly the opposite of what the dark ones want. They don't want loving, in touch, self-loving people energy. They want the loosh, right? That word. They want the yucky part. They want you to be destitute, fearful, and feeling depressed. They love that. Okay, so they feed off your energy if you're in the dark part of yourself. You need to come into your personal light. That's how everybody's going to individually get through this.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Awesome message. Love it. I'm trying to think, I'll scan through here. Is there anything else popping on? Nope. So yes, I want to, thank you, Janine, for your time. I know how busy you are. It was finally good to connect with you. Look forward to, meeting you again in person, whether we come to Canada in the Haida or you come in here. Yeah, we're definitely going to be, communing in person again. And Natalie's coming in. She wants to say hi.
Hi there.
Hey, hi, Natalie. You guys have an open invitation to Haida Gwaii. I'll put you up. I mean it.
Excellent.
Excellent.
It'll be a great reunion. Great reunion.
Love it. So yeah, thank you again for your time. And then make sure people go to your website, tarotbyjanine.com. You can find wherever she's doing stuff, because she's spirit. She's like the wind. She's moving all over the place, doing important things. One last question for myself. I'm curious if people wanted to kind of experience or maybe delve into, learning some about the tarot stuff. Like I found an app that I use on my phone. And so when I go out in my morning meditation, I sit out, there's a little pond up by my house with a fountain. So I love to have the sound of the water moving and all that stuff. So I'll, get on my meditation, I'll open that app and do what has a daily path, reading where you can, shuffle up the cards and pull some cards and it gives you an interpretation. Is that type something that you could, recommend, or is there, what's your thoughts on that type of situation?
I think you'll be attracted to what you need if you just stay open and say, I want to investigate this, and tell the universe that. The universe will put it in your path, just like that app might have been put in your path. So trusting that kind of process, that's part of trusting ourselves and our intuition to know what's best. I always ask for the universe to step my feet in the right direction, and I'm giving myself up to universal, what is my job here? Because I want to be of service. And that's how I even ended up on YouTube and in Truth. And it's like I opened up a long time ago and committed to service and using my talents, even though they're maybe a little odd, right? Being a tarot reader and astrology, but I wanted to use everything I am good at to help humanity. And I made that commitment a long, long time ago. And whether it was one-on-one with my clients or in a bigger way, but for people just wanting to just get to know tarot, that's a good way to start. Just ask the universe to send things your way, the right teacher, the right app, the right whatever it is. But if you really want to get serious, I actually teach a level 1 and 2, and I'm putting up a 3rd level through Beyond Mystic, the website Beyond Mystic. So if you look up Beyond Mystic, you'll find there's a Beyond Mystic Academy. And so there's all kinds of great teachers on there, and I'm one of them. So it's a great way to, if you want to get real serious about it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for that. So her website, tarotbyjanine.com, and then beyondmystic.com. I'm assuming that's what that is, right?
I believe it is. And there's also the Beyond Mystic Academy.
Beyond Mystic Academy. So you'll be able to find that stuff. Anybody has any interest or desire to expand your thinking more, if you feel drawn into, that type of, service, investigate it, be open, because we all need more people on the battlefield doing what we can, using our own gifts and talents to raise the level of humanity, and we're going to get through this, and it's going to be glorious on the other side. That's what's so exciting about being alive in this time. So yes, Beyond
somebody
Mystic
wrote it.
Yeah, beyondmystic.net. Tina Gable.
it.
That was, if you remember when we were in the car, Tina is a huge fan of yours. And I called her up, and you had a conversation with her on the phone in the car when we were sitting there. So yeah, Tina's a huge fan.
Oh,
she's
good.
A great friend of mine. And she's got some giftings too about doing some past life stuff. And so yeah, I'm exploring and looking into all that myself, because I need to learn more myself, because I don't know nothing as far as this. It's all new to me.
We all needed Gina to help us.
Yeah.
She's rounding us up, even though we're not on the Truther Tour
Oh, I know.
anymore.
Awesome.
Thanks, Gina.
Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
that was Tina.
Oh, Tina, because Gina was like that for me on the Truther Tour.
Oh yeah, she was like
always...
the mother hen, always trying to herd us, all of the truthers, into a direction and trying to keep us focused. Yeah, that was her job. She was the mother hen of the group.
It was awesome. So thanks, Tina.
All right, you can have a blessed day.